All right, so get this. There's a lot of buzz right now about John Cena, Mr. Hustle loyalty, respect himself, maybe turning heel
Oh, wow.
at Elimination Chamber, no less.
Okay.
You know, when Hogan joined the NWO,
Sure.
it could change everything.
Yeah.
But what's really got the internet buzzing is how this ties into Cody Rhodes' story.
Mm.
You know, he's on the verge of this huge title win, and the source material we've got hints at a connection to Cody's family legacy.
Wow.
Just adds a whole other layer to this whole thing. So today we're going to unpack this, see why this potential heel turn is such a big deal, and even touch on what it says about reinvention.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly strategic. A turning heel at this point in his career would be like the ultimate shock,
Yeah,
especially given, Cena's history as the face of WWE for so long.
exactly. So for those who haven't been following Cody's journey, he left WWE, built his career elsewhere, came back as this huge fan favorite, and now he's this close to winning it all. But
Right.
picture this Cena, the ultimate good guy betrays him, costs him the championship. The drama.
And it wouldn't just be dramatic, it would be a clash of wrestling icons.
Yeah, right.
Two different generations, two different philosophies.
Yeah.
It's storytelling gold.
Okay, so WWE loves a good story, but what's their motive here? Why risk Cena's legacy?
Well, the source suggests a few possibilities.
Okay.
Maybe it's a way to make Cody prove himself even further. Imagine having to overcome a betrayal by John Cena to achieve your dreams.
Oh, wow.
It would test him like never before. Or could it be a way for Cena to stay relevant? The wrestling landscape is changing, and maybe this is his way of adapting.
So using his legendary status to elevate the next generation.
Exactly.
Almost like a torch passing, but with a wicked twist.
Right.
The source also brought up this idea that maybe we haven't seen Cena's true agenda this whole time. Like maybe this bad guy was always lurking beneath the surface. What do you make of that?
I think what's fascinating is how it taps into a desire some fans have had for years to see Cena as the villain. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about him.
Right. And he's 46. Now maybe this is the last big dramatic act before retirement.
Right.
A way to cement his legacy in a whole new way.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I think what's important here is that it highlights the power of reinvention.
Yeah.
Both Cena and Cody are examples of that at different points in their careers.
Right.
Cody leaving WWE, forging his own path, then returning even stronger. And now potentially Cena completely flipping the script on his persona.
Yeah.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes you wonder, are there times in our own lives when we're afraid to make those big, scary changes, even if they might be necessary for growth?
It's a great question, and it's something we'll dive deeper into a bit later. But first, let's talk about what this potential heel turn means for Cody and his family legacy.
Okay.
Remember, the source pointed to a specific connection there.
Okay, that's where it gets really interesting. You see, Cody comes from wrestling royalty.
Right.
His father, Dusty Rhodes, was a legend known as the American Dream. And the source material suggests that Cena's potential heel turn could be tied to this legacy, possibly exploiting it, twisting it to undermine Cody's quest for the championship. So it's not just about personal betrayal, it's about disrespecting Cody's family history, the very foundation of his wrestling identity.
Right.
That adds a whole other level of complexity to this story.
Absolutely, and it raises the stakes even higher. It's no longer just about winning a championship, it's about defending a legacy.
It's almost Shakespearean, isn't it?
It is.
This clash of families, this battle for honor and respect. It's like wrestling meets Hamlet, but instead of a poison goblet, we've got a steel chair.
That's a great way to put it. It's those kinds of parallels to classic storytelling that make wrestling so captivating.
Right, and this story's just getting started. We've got the rumors, the motives, the legacy, but what about the man himself, John Cena?
Right.
What would drive him to make such a drastic change?
That's what we need to unpack next. Is this a calculated move, a desperate attempt to stay relevant, or something deeper, something we haven't seen before? It's interesting to consider what a Cena heel turn could reveal about him. Is this a side of him he's been suppressing all these years, or is this purely a strategic move?
That's what makes this so compelling, right? We've seen Cena as the ultimate good guy for so long, but what if there's this darkness beneath that surface?
Yeah.
What if those glimpses of ruthlessness we've seen in the past were just the tip of the iceberg?
And remember, the source material mentioned this idea of Cena having a hidden agenda.
Right.
What if this turn exposes that agenda, reveals his true motives all along? It would make you question everything you thought you knew about him, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. It would be a complete reframing of his entire career. All those acts of heroism, all those inspiring speeches.
Right.
Were they genuine or were they all part of some elaborate scheme?
Right.
It's enough to make your head spin.
That's the beauty of this potential storyline. It forces us to re-examine our perceptions, to question what we believe to be true.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that even those we hold up as heroes can be flawed, can be complex.
And think about how this would affect the entire WWE landscape.
Oh, yeah.
Alliances would crumble, rivalries would ignite, and the balance of power could shift dramatically. It would be absolute chaos.
I think it's fair to say that a Cena heel turn would be a seismic shift in the WWE universe.
Yeah,
It would force everyone to pick a side to decide where their loyalties lie.
exactly. It's not just about Cena and Cody anymore. It's about the entire roster, the entire fan base having to grapple with this new reality. Imagine the shockwaves it would send through the entire wrestling world.
It wouldn't just be a storyline, it would be an event, a moment that would be talked about for years to come.
Okay, let's play this out. What if Cena forms a faction of his own? A group of young, hungry wrestlers who are drawn to his new, darker philosophy.
Now, that's an intriguing possibility. We could see Cena as this manipulative mastermind,
Right.
molding these wrestlers in his image, using them to achieve his own nefarious goals.
It would be like watching Darth Vader assemble his Inquisitors, wouldn't it? Corrupting the next generation, turning them against the established order. It's a classic power dynamic.
And think about the potential matchups. Cody leading a resistance against Cena's new regime, fighting to preserve the legacy of his father and the values he represents.
It would be like wrestling meets Star Wars.
Yeah.
The light side versus the dark side, good versus evil, with the fate of the WWE Universe hanging in the balance.
And the fans would be right in the middle of it, caught between their admiration for Cena's past and their horror at his present.
It would be a moral dilemma of epic proportions. Do you stay loyal to the hero who's fallen from grace, or do you embrace the new champion who's fighting for what's right?
I think that's what makes this potential storyline so fascinating.
Yeah.
It goes beyond the typical wrestling narrative and taps into something deeper, something more universal.
Right.
It forces us to confront our own beliefs about heroism, loyalty, and the choices we make when faced with difficult circumstances.
Exactly. It's not just entertainment. It's a reflection of our own lives, our own struggles. And it's a reminder that things aren't always black and white, that even the most seemingly righteous individuals can be tempted by darkness.
It's a reminder that we all have the capacity for both good and evil, and that the path we choose ultimately defines who we are.
And that's what makes this story so compelling. It's not just about two wrestlers battling for a championship. It's about the battle that rages within us, all the battle between our better angels and our darker impulses.
And it's a battle that we can all relate to, whether we're wrestling fans or not.
So what do you think? Are we reading too much into this? Is it possible that this whole heel turn thing is just a way to generate buzz to get people talking?
Well, it's certainly generating buzz, but I think there's more to it than that. Remember, the source material we're looking at is known for its in-depth analysis.
Right.
And they pointed to specific reasons why this heel turn would make sense from a storytelling perspective, and even for Cena and Cody's careers.
That's true. And think about this. Even if the heel turn doesn't happen, just the rumor itself has sparked a conversation. It's gotten us thinking about legacy, about reinvention, about the choices we make in our own lives.
And that's what great storytelling does.
Right.
It provokes us. It
Yeah.
challenges us. It makes us question our assumptions.
So even if it's all a smokescreen, WWE has already achieved something remarkable. They've gotten us talking, debating, and engaging with these characters and their stories on a deeper level.
It's a reminder that sometimes the journey is just as important as the destination.
Yeah.
And in this case, the journey has been quite a ride so far.
Okay, let's shift gears for a second and talk about you, the listener. What resonates with you in this story?
Think about your own life, your own career. Have you ever felt the need to reinvent yourself, to make a drastic change, even if it meant challenging the status quo, going against everyone's expectations?
Remember that question the source material posed? When your legacy is on the line, what choice would you make? It's a powerful question, and it's one that we should all ask ourselves from time to time.
Because ultimately, it's not just about John Cena or Cody Rhodes, it's about all of us.
Right.
It's about our own journeys, our own struggles, our own quest for meaning and purpose.
And that's what makes this story so universally relatable. It's about the choices we make, the risks we take, and the consequences that follow.
It's about the courage to be ourselves, to embrace change, and to forge our own paths, even when the world tells us we can't.
It's about the power of reinvention, the audacity to defy expectations, and the unwavering belief in our own potential.
And that's a message that resonates far beyond the world of professional wrestling. It's a message that speaks to the human spirit in all of us.
Well said. Okay, before we get too deep into existentialism, let's bring it back to wrestling for a moment. We've talked about Cena's potential heel turn, the impact it could have on WWE, and even what it says about our own lives. But what about Cody? How would this
Yeah.
affect him, not just as a wrestler, but as a man carrying the legacy of his father?
That's what we need to explore next. How would Cody respond to this ultimate betrayal? Would he crumble under the pressure, or would he rise to the occasion, proving himself worthy of the Rhodes family name?
So we were just talking about, the impact of this potential heel turn on Cody Rhodes, both as a wrestler and as the son of the legendary Dusty's Rhodes.
Yeah, imagine the weight of that legacy on his shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Already immense, and now magnified by this potential betrayal.
Right, like adding an extra layer of challenge to his quest for the championship.
Absolutely.
Not only does he have to prove himself against the best in the world, but now he has to overcome this deeply personal betrayal.
And it's not just about overcoming a personal obstacle. It's about defending the honor of his family name.
Right.
Remember, Dusty Rhodes wasn't just a wrestler.
Yeah.
He was the American dream. He represented hope, resilience, the idea that anyone can achieve their dreams with hard work and determination.
So for Cena to potentially exploit that legacy, to use it against Cody, it's like he's attacking the very values that Dusty Rhodes stood for.
Exactly. And that adds a whole other layer of emotional complexity to this story.
Right.
It becomes a battle for the soul of wrestling,
Hmm.
a clash between cynicism and idealism.
Wow, when you put it like that, it makes this potential heel turn even more significant. It's not just about two wrestlers fighting for a title. It's about two different philosophies, two different visions of what wrestling represents.
Absolutely.
And it's a conflict that I think a lot of us can relate to in our own lives.
Yeah.
We all face those moments where we have to choose between taking the easy path, compromising our values, or standing up for what we believe in, even when it's hard.
Right.
It's like we talked about earlier with reinvention. Sometimes staying true to yourself means making a radical change.
Yeah.
For Cody, that might mean breaking free from the expectations that come with his family legacy, forging his own path, even if it means going against someone he once admired.
It's almost like a coming-of-age story,
Yeah.
a trial by fire that forces him to confront his own identity, to define what the American dream means to him on his own terms.
And who knows, maybe that's exactly what Cena wants.
Yeah.
Maybe this whole heel turn is a way to push Cody to his limits, to force him to become the wrestler, the man he was always meant to be.
It's a fascinating possibility, isn't it, that even in betrayal, there can be a strange kind of mentorship, that sometimes our greatest challenges are the ones that ultimately reveal our true potential.
It's those unexpected twists, those shades of gray that make this story so compelling.
Yeah.
It reminds us that life is rarely simple, that heroes can have flaws, and that villains can sometimes be the catalysts for our own growth.
It's a reminder that even in the world of professional wrestling, where the lines between fiction and reality are often blurred, there are profound truths to be found.
Yeah.
Truths about ourselves, about the choices we make, and about the enduring power of hope, even in the face of darkness.
Well said, and I think that's a perfect note to end on. We've unpacked the rumors, analyzed the motives, explored the themes of legacy and reinvention, and even touched on the philosophical implications of this potential John Cena heel turn.
It's been a deep dive indeed, and we've barely scratched the surface.
But that's the beauty of it, right? Wrestling is full of surprises, and no matter what happens at Elimination Chamber, we know it's going to be a night to remember.
So, to our listener, we leave you with this: what will you do when faced with your own defining moment? Will you cling to the familiar, or will you embrace the unknown and rewrite your own story?
We'll be here ready to break it all down no matter what twists and turns await us in the ring. Until then, thanks for taking this